Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm gonna take you on a little bit of a tour of my Phalaenopsis shelf, my main Phalaenopsis shelf, let's put it like that. I have Phalaenopsis throughout this room pretty much, but this is the main shelf where I keep my flower shop Phalaenopsis, let's put it like that, and they're mainly miniatures, even though they don't look very tiny. Yeah, they do grow to be somewhat of a medium size throughout the years, but anyway, 'tis that time of the year when they're all preparing or are partially in bloom, and it's just really nice to film them and to look at them and dedicate a few videos to them as well. Right, so before we start, just a little update on the whole moving to a new house situation. Things have started. We have had already multiple meetings and multiple hours spent browsing the shops, getting offers, all of that stuff, deciding on materials and unforeseen stuff. Anyway, the busy times have started, so my upload schedule will probably be a little bit weird. I don't even know when I will upload this. I'm hoping on my regular date, which is Tuesday, but if not, it might be a Wednesday. Sometimes I really don't have time to dedicate a full day of filming, so I just take you along on these little tours like today. So please bear with me. I hope that everything will be done and we will be at least partially moved in by the 1st of June, which is so exciting. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. We've already been delayed quite a few times, so it's not unlikely to be delayed again, but I hope it's not going to be the case. And I do think it's going to make for some really exciting videos to arrange all of these shelves and all of the orchids into the new room and all of that. So yeah, just letting you guys know about the schedule. Just bear with me. We're going to have a few months of pretty much chaotic content, but I hope you will enjoy it. And to get back to today's video, today I'm gonna tell you how I actually grow these orchids throughout the year, because they actually don't move from here. I'm gonna tell you what shelf this is, what light I use, and yeah, pretty much what I do to obtain the results that I obtain. So before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it and maybe you learn something, maybe it's inspiring, and why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week, hopefully. I hope, but usually I do, and it's completely free. But if you're feeling a little extra and you wish to further support the channel and my passion and the videos, and you can, do consider becoming a member and getting access to some exclusive videos and maybe behind the scenes, which probably will be a lot now with the move. Also, you can use the affiliate links that I always have linked in the description below. You can also check out the merch. We have beautiful mugs at the moment, and I think on Friday we're gonna have quite a few new style of mugs. Or you can also use the super thanks option below my videos, and I thank you very much if you choose to use one of these options. Right, so with that said, let's just start, shall we? First off, what is this shelf? Well, some of you might know it is an Ikea shelf. It is the Vittsjo shelf, but it is, let's say, the half one. It's not the tall one. It only has, let's say, 2 shelves. My vocabulary this morning is totally missing. I lost it somewhere. Maybe under the bed, I don't know, but my mind is in a million places, I guess. Anyway, it only has 2 compartments. I decided to remove one of the bars, the middle bar, and you can see it's propped right there. And that's because whenever I watered the orchids, which I think you can tell, they are displayed in a sort of a cascade manner, which I'll show you a close-up how I did it, but let me tell you why I removed the middle bar. So whenever I would water pretty okay, the bottom ones, but when I had to water these guys right here, I think you can imagine the bar was right here. You can imagine how the bar was completely in the way. So the top ones were fine, the bottom ones were fine, but the middle orchids were very hard to water, and most of the times what I would do is spill water everywhere, and that's not fun because the shelf is made of particle wood. It's not like a slab of wood. So one must be very careful with water when we're talking about the wood pieces. Now the middle is actually by default a glass shelf, which was fine, but down there and also at the top, those are particle boards. So if any water infiltrates and gets into the seam, everything will swell within an hour and pretty much the shelf is done. Well, it's not done, but it definitely looks very bad. Now the middle shelf, the glass shelf, is hidden right here under this piece of cloth, and there I made a sort of a makeshift little shelf by using some Ikea shelf risers. Maybe they're called risers. I think you can tell those white ones. I'm gonna put the product on the screen just so you know which one I'm talking about. It is smack in the middle, I would say, of the distance. And what it does is it creates a ladder effect, right? You see what I'm going for here? So I placed these shelf raisers all throughout. I have 3 of these Vittsjo shelves here. So that's how I managed the, let's say, raised row behind. And the top row is actually just tiny Phalaenopsis that are placed on the edge of this shelf. I did not remove the back bar. Do you see it? There we have it. That back bar, I did not remove it because it's actually pretty useful in placing these orchids, tinier ones like that. And it's actually pretty stable. I did not have one orchid fall. Yay! And it saves up so much space because these orchids actually don't grow very tall. So it again creates this ladder effect that the bottom ones are a little towards the front and they go gradually towards the back. And yeah, I think it makes for a wonderful display and it saves up space, which I do need when it comes to Phalaenopsis because I have a ton of them. They're very affordable. I find them everywhere and I really love them. Look at them. Just look at them. So yeah, of course, I can't resist purchasing mini Phalaenopsis and I have to put them somewhere. And they all look very pretty in the same place. Now, when it comes to the light, I used to have Barinas on top of these shelves, but recently I made some modifications to my other shelves and I needed the Barinas for more quote-unquote finicky, demanding, I would not go that far, but let's say light demanding plants. And those are the Cattleyas. So I reserved the good Barinas, the good light, for the Cattleyas. And I gave my poor Phalaenopsis kitchen lights. Do we see? Let me try to decrease the brightness here. Those are LED tubes that you put in the kitchen, and I had them from the wire shelves, for those of you who remember. Are they good lights for orchids? Yes, they are. Are they the best? I don't think they are the best, and I do think that the spectrum of the Barinas is a little bit better. I do remember having slightly, mildly, very mildly better results with the Barinas than with the kitchen light. But as you can see, the kitchen light is not shabby either. I mean, perfectly fine. And rather than spending more money on Barinas, which you guys might know, I ordered them from Amazon US, so I import them, I pay the import tax and all of that stuff. It's double the price for me, but I don't find them anywhere else, and I don't find a fixture that is better and suits this place better. Anyway, so rather than having quite a big expense to light these shelves, I just went for the kitchen light that I already have, because out of all the orchids we can grow, Phalaenopsis orchids are the least finicky when it comes to light. And all of these phals that you see here have been grown under the same light and throughout the year in the exact same place. Pretty much for the past, let's say, couple of years. I don't remember when I switched the light, but yeah, maybe a couple of years ago. And they have grown adequately well. I'm not gonna say spectacular because, again, I feel like I had a little bit better success with the Barinas rather than these, but mildly, very mildly. You wouldn't be able to tell there is a difference, to be fully honest. I can tell because I have these guys for so many years. I know them inside out, but you wouldn't be able to tell much, so I'm okay with that, you know. When I will have more money, I'll order some grow lights, but for now, the kitchen light it is. And these kitchen lights have worked for a lot of years, so probably the LEDs are not even that bright anymore. I think they're towards the end of their life, but it's okay. They still can grow Phalaenopsis orchids beautifully, as you can see. Maybe not 100% optimally, but at this point, you know, it's just not worth the investment at this point. But really, these guys do not receive any natural light at all. It is impossible in this room to give them natural light right now. And this room is actually a pretty dark room. You might not know because we are facing south right now. Everything is very bright here, but yeah, the light only comes into the room for like 1.5 meters and everything else is darkness. Anyway, so the brightest parts of this room are dedicated to Cattleyas and other very highlight plants, but Phalaenopsis, they only receive this and this is how they grow. I would say it's quite adequate. Wouldn't you say? I think it's quite great. Can they do better? Absolutely, but marginally. You know, it's not something I will lose sleep over, but I can see, like this guy or this girl, yeah, previous years. Now she has 3 flower spikes, yes, but I think she had like 4 flowers more last year on a branch. I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of a difference ever since I switched to the kitchen light, but it's fine. It's fine. It's not that noticeable. So the good news is the new room these orchids will be in is half the size of this room. Yay! The good news. Well, yes, I'm going to dramatically downsize, but that's okay. I have enough room for my orchids. I'll optimize my space. But the good news is that room will also look towards the south, and because it's tinier, you know, it's not gonna have a back of the room which is completely dark, which is unsuitable for orchids. You know, it's gonna be brighter overall because the light will bounce off the walls, and I have 2 windows, one towards the east and one towards the south. So I will have overall a better natural light situation than I do here, which is great. This doesn't mean I'm not gonna use the artificial light, because probably the orchids, the phals, will still be in this shelf and still under the window, but that's okay, that's fine. Generally speaking, I will have more natural light bouncing off the walls, so yeah, we'll see. Maybe I will not need as much artificial light. Reason why I didn't go ahead and purchase more Barina lights and I just saved up my money, because there is a chance I could again rearrange my lights throughout the room and maybe give these guys the Barinas back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what ideas I have. But yeah, so that is the setup. Temperature wise, it's almost 22 degrees Celsius right now. It has been raining yesterday and today it's gonna rain again, so it's quite humid now, but typically it's not that humid. And the temperature usually sits at a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius in winter to a maximum of 28 to 30 degrees Celsius in the summertime. This is a room that is not insulated. We are towards the south. Whenever the sun shines here, it's an oven, so I need to run the AC. And if the sun does not shine, it's cold in here because there's no insulation and I have to run the AC again. Very not optimized room, but it's a room that I can use nonetheless, and it has served me well for all of these years, and I'm so happy and grateful. But I am truly looking forward to having much less expensive bills to pay, because, and this is the kicker, in our new house we will be producing our own electricity. We have invested in the maximum solar panels that we can, so that we can support my hobby and also the aquarium hobby and all of these things, and yeah, just be as economical as possible with everything. And electricity was a big one, a very big one. Currently in the grow space, I have reduced my photo period from 12 hours a day, which is, I would say, the adequate amount for orchids since they're all pretty tropical. I have reduced it from 12 hours a day to 8 hours a day for quite a while now, just to save up on electricity, and my bill decreased a lot. I'm kind of so happy. The orchids themselves, yes, they might have grown a tiny little bit slower, but it was well worth it. So yeah, I'm hoping electricity will not be such an issue in a well-insulated house with, you know, self-sustaining capabilities when it comes to electricity. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's besides the point, but since we're here discussing and talking, why not? Right, now let me take you in a little closer and show you the orchids themselves and what I have them potted in and so on. You might see some very tall and very beautiful pots there. Oops, I'm sorry. My tripod is squeaking. It's a very old tripod. I'm afraid the camera will fall off of it at some point because the springs are broken and everything is in shambles, but it's okay. I don't really use the tripod like this more, other than to put the camera on it. I don't usually move it, so it's still good. Anyway, so I do have my Phalaenopsis orchids in these really big pots. I have a lot of them that I need to use, and after all the blooms are done, I will repot my Phalaenopsis in these guys because they offer adequate amount of water. They are also tall, so the flower spikes can go pendant down and look pretty, and Also, they are self-watering. You might not be able to realize, and I cannot really show you right now, but I will show you in a future video. This side of the pot is the reservoir, and the pot inside is actually, it's ending here. It doesn't go all the way down, and it just has a cone that goes down. So actually the pot is not as tall as you would think because the bottom part is the reservoir. I find these locally. I did not find them online. I'll try to find an Amazon link, but I don't know where you can find them online, to be honest. There aren't many shops that deliver to my country other than Amazon. So I really don't know. I did find them locally in a flower shop and they're beautiful. And I'll be sure to pot more plants with them because they really are beautiful. And the fact that they're self-watering, you know, makes all the difference in my climate. But you can see other Phalaenopsis are just potted in typical, how can I show you? Typical orchid pots. Oh no, they're embedded in here. They're the transparent pots, and these are some decorative pots. I think these are from Ikea. So nothing special. I have them, most of them, in a combination of bark and moss that is very old at this point. It's about 4 years old. These ones have been in these pots for 4 years. I need to move them. The bark is done. It's done, but it's okay. Their roots are very, very strong. They're not sensitive, so that's why I dragged it so much. I also dragged it because I ran out of sphagnum moss, but now I do have more sphagnum moss. But that's how I keep the orchids. There's nothing special. It's just my typical type of repotting, and I do have a repot to show you linked down below. I would put them in straight sphagnum moss really, but I have so many of them, it's just not economical. So because I find bark locally, I just use a combination of bark and moss. Alrighty, let's change a little bit the angle here. What else can I tell you about this place? Nothing much really, other than I do enjoy them being so low to the ground, especially in this climate, because here where I live, autumn comes very late, maybe sometimes even in December. And as many of you might know, Phalaenopsis orchids need a bit of a cool down in the winter to initiate flower spikes. And the closer I have them to the ground, the cooler it is. So theoretically, they spike faster. Whereas if I would have them up top, they will probably never spike because there is such a big difference in temperature. Given in January and February, which are, let's say, the coldest months of Cyprus, I might get away with having enough of a cool down for them. But honestly, I do believe they spike better and faster here closer to the ground. After they spike, when they have their blooms, I can move them around, but I typically like to keep them here for display purposes. They look very, very pretty, and I think they will look even prettier in the new room because everything will be just tighter together. So it's gonna be, let's say, more cozy, I would say. And other than that, really, I just care for them in the same way that I tell you in my tutorials. I do sometimes get a lot of comments asking, how do you get the flower spikes? How do you get so many flowers, or why do you have such big leaves on your mini Phalaenopsis and so on, and what do you do to obtain it? Well, exactly what I tell you in my tutorials. I don't talk from imagination or from books. I just tell you what I experience, and some of you might know some stuff I say might not be in accordance to what other people say, and that's because we all have different experiences. I like to tell you about my experience with my orchids and how I do things and what I do to get so many blooms and so on. I don't do anything different other than what I tell you in my tutorials. And when I say I do not use boosters, I do not use magical potions, I really mean it. I do not. I do not have space in my brain to think and consider about boosters as well. No, I'm just gonna give you guys whatever I give to everybody and you do well, okay? I mean, it would be so funny to give all of these boosters and magical potions to my orchids, but keep them under kitchen light. The worst kitchen light of life, to be fully honest. These are so old, so used. They're not even very efficient because they have this diffuser on top of them. But hey, it's the light that I have. So they will have to do with it, and they do. Because Phalaenopsis are just that easy. You can get away with them with a lot of things. I love them. That's why I love them, because they're just so low maintenance. Once you get a few details correct, there are a few things you should know and you should not do, which I do think I have a video on. But when you get all of these things about them, when you understand them pretty much, they will be the best friends you will ever have because they will not fuss around, they will bloom, they will look beautiful, and if you want them to look extremely beautiful and to their full potential, you can take it up a notch. But if you don't, if you just want a few flowers, Phalaenopsis is the way to go. Right, so I think I blabbed enough. This is how I grow my Phalaenopsis and what I do year round. I also use sometimes tap water. I don't even combine it with reverse osmosis water because maybe sometimes I don't have enough stored. And these guys need some water, so I'm just gonna give them tap water. And it's hard water. They will not care. They're that type of orchid. There is a limit to their endurance, but that limit is very far. So that's what I do for my Phalaenopsis. Nothing much, as you can see, and this is the result that I get. Could be better. Could be a little bit better, but it's fine. For where my life is now, it's absolutely fine, and I love looking at these orchids. Bonus, they're easy to find and they are affordable. They are more affordable than the standard sized ones. I even found some mini phals for like €8 once, which I think is a bargain because you just know within a couple of years, with good care, they will grow and they will look spectacular. They will be 10 times the size. So they are just well worth it. Right, so I blabbed enough. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me and looking at my beautiful phals. I hope you have a great day and I hope you've gotten some inspiration from this. And yeah, the main idea that I always hope you can see through my videos, even if I show you like this 1 million orchids, that is maybe not realistic to have for one person, right? I'm a YouTuber, what to do? I collect the orchids and I do videos on them. But really, honestly, the idea that I always try to drive through these videos is that any orchid can be absolutely spectacular. You can purchase orchids at a discount without flowers but still get a pretty big collection with less money. You can also purchase seedlings and just be patient, and again, with a lot less money than spending on mature orchids, you can get yourself quite a little collection if you want. And yeah, there is no gatekeeping with the orchids. Whatever orchids you like, whatever orchids you can afford, they will look absolutely gorgeous, all of them, no exception, with a little bit of your love and a little bit of care. And I think the good old mini Phalaenopsis from the flower shop are the best example to support what I'm saying. And yeah, I love looking at them and admiring them and filming them every year. Right, so let's end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching yet again. I am off to my chores, whatever chores today might bring. So I'll see you guys next time, hopefully with a proper video on Friday. Bye!